Hello, welcome to the Courageous Self-Care podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we talk about self-care that goes way beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. It's the self-care that is transformative. It makes a difference. It makes you happier and more energetic and makes you feel good from the inside out. This kind of self-care takes work. You need to put it into action. Just sitting there and hoping and praying that it's going to change your life won't do the trick. And so what I decided was people tend to be better at getting into action when they are in groups. And I thought, how can I reach more people and get this information into more people's minds, hearts, and bodies? And I was meditating one day and the idea for the Courageous Self-Care Festival came to me. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I set that information aside and sat with it for a while. And then a few months later, it turned out that it was time to take embodied action, which is one of the foundations of Courageous Self-Care, put it into practice and launch this event. So the Courageous Self-Care Festival is having its debut this fall in Calgary in November. And we have so many amazing speakers lined up that I thought, I know people listen to this podcast all over the world, and the speakers are just too good to keep to one day. And I had the idea, well, I could bring them all onto this podcast. I was very happy to be gifted with that idea. So today I have one of our amazing speakers with me, Charmaine Ironside. Charmaine, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So glad to have you here and so excited that you are a part of the festival. I know that you are an amazing person up to so many interesting things. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to.
Sure. So my first passion was really fitness. And so about 10 years ago, I started working as a fitness trainer and a fitness coach. And I have now 2 fitness studios where we really focus on enjoying the journey and celebrating our bodies rather than just, torturing our bodies and going through these grueling workouts. The focus really is having fun and also looking at the whole picture of health, stress reduction, relaxation, sleep, nutrition. And one thing I've really noticed in 10 years in the industry through my own story and also a lot of my clients is that even if we know what to do, we often don't do it. And I'm sure some people are agreeing with that. So I found one of my biggest blocks to eating healthy specifically was I was eating when I was emotional a lot of the time. So even though I knew what to eat, I would eat when I was sad, exhausted, stressed, frustrated, anxious, etc. And so breaking through that habit has been instrumental in my journey to living at a healthy, comfortable weight and helping my clients do the same. So I'm excited to share a little bit more about that today.
That is so valuable. I love that you're doing that. And I love how you're approaching fitness and health from a whole lifestyle perspective. Like you said, we can't just torture ourselves and expect our bodies to perform at top levels if we're not treating them well. And so I love how your topic approaches it from all the different sides: stress reduction, nutrition, and fitness. And I can really identify with a lot of your journey, Charmaine. I'm passionate about health and fitness too. And I trained to be a fitness instructor initially. I ended up being a phys ed teacher because I wanted to affect people at a younger age, and then ended up teaching dance. And I've always been interested in nutrition. So I feel really aligned with what you're talking about. And yeah, I heard a woman say recently, she said, I'm working out regularly, but I'm not losing weight. And I know why. It's because I want to eat what I want to eat. So I just eat it. And she knew that was a missing link, but she didn't seem ready at that point to do anything about it because she was enjoying chowing down on something that probably wasn't the healthiest. So I love how you said that we know what to do, but we don't necessarily take the action to do it. And it sounds like you have the answers on how to do that. So tell us a little bit more about what you'll be sharing at the festival and why it's important to you.
Yeah, okay. So my topic for the festival is about breaking through comfort eating to live in a body that you love and live a life that you love. And I've found that the way I eat is very highly correlated with the way I live. So if I eat in a conscious way, I eat in a peaceful way, my life kind of starts to ripple out and mirror that. And so I really love sharing. It's not just about meals and food. It's actually going to impact our whole lives. And so, the main topic is how to break through comfort eating. So for any women that find themselves snacking mindlessly, not really knowing why they're even eating, or maybe they do know it's because they're feeling frustrated or sad they're eating. And some people, when they're distressed, they eat. So I really want to help people bring awareness, because I always find if we're aware, we can actually make change from a very empowered place, rather than just slapping a Band-Aid on a problem. Like, let's just put you on a diet plan. That's not going to address the stress, the sadness, the frustration, the exhaustion. So I'm going to share that. And I really believe one thing I've noticed is my self-care and my emotional or comfort eating are very highly correlated. So if I don't take care of myself with rest, with exercise, with fun, with pleasure, with connection, all those things, then I end up eating more. And I've really noticed the correlation. So now prioritizing self-care isn't just about, like you said, bubble baths and chocolate and wine. It's really like my discipline every morning. I meditate. I make sure that I don't overbook my schedule. Those things actually have helped me lose so much weight, which I love. Well, I usually say release the weight, because I haven't gained it back. And then the old me would lose it on a diet but gain it back. And now that I prioritize self-care, I just find I eat when I'm hungry. I stop when I'm full. I love food. I'm a foodie, and I respect food at the same time, and I respect my body at the same time. And I've found that self-care has been instrumental in that journey to living at a healthy weight without constantly yo-yoing.
That's such good news for so many people. Like, the diet industry is gigantic and it's ferocious and it's always the new thing. But like you said, when we eat in a conscious way with awareness, and we're not trying to fill a void of other things in our lives, then it just makes all the difference. And that's why you released the weight instead of lost it, I think.
Yeah, words are so powerful. So
yeah. Oh, I love this topic. It's so interesting, and you're giving us so many great nuggets of wisdom within it. So, Charmaine, the Courageous Self-Care Festival is wrapped up with two different ideas, self-care and courage. So let's explore those a little bit. You mentioned some of it, but maybe you want to go a little bit deeper. What does self-care mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Self-care is basically my number one priority in my life. I believe I used to feel very selfish. I think some women can identify maybe. I thought putting myself first was selfish. And in the last 6 or so years, I really realized if I don't put myself first, I don't show up well in my life. I don't show up as a happy, fun wife. I don't show up as a great mom. I don't show up as a great fitness coach. I don't show up as a great, emotional eating coach. And so by putting myself first, I end up impacting my world around me in such a more positive way. And so it's not selfish. And I don't know who said it, but I remember someone said to me, why do we have to say, oh, I do self-care so I can be a better mom? Like, why can't we just do self-care because we deserve it and we deserve to live happy, fulfilled lives? And I got goosebumps saying that, because yes, it's great how we show up better for others. And why can't we just be our best for ourselves? Why isn't that enough of a motivation? So for me now, I really try to think, I deserve pleasure. I deserve fun. And I don't have to earn it necessarily either. So that's a big thing I've realized, is if I always have to have self-care only as a reward, that's not really being super kind to myself either. So I could talk more about my self-care practices. I'm not sure if that's what the question was, but I love this topic. I'm getting so excited.
I know, me too. What you were saying made me think of a movie that I was watching with my husband and my son the other night, and it was a silly Jackie Chan movie, The Spy Next Door. But when we watch movies with our family, we always dissect them afterwards and say what the main lessons were and what we learned from them. Even a silly movie has messages. And one of the most powerful ones that was embedded in there, like kind of a secret that hopefully the moms picked up on, is the mom at one point, Jackie Chan was her boyfriend, and he said he was trying to create a relationship with her kids, and she said that she did everything for her kids and she was always trying to make them happy. She was concerned about moving their relationship forward, and he said, well, your happiness counts too. And she kind of thought about it, and then later on in the movie she said to the kids, like, my relationship with Bob is important, and my happiness counts too. And like, that should be on a shirt. My happiness counts too. And you're right. Like, we don't need to do it so that we'll self-care, so that we'll give better to others. Although that's a great motivator for some people and a great starting point. Just knowing that our happiness counts is a great reason. It's valid. And I love the idea of, like, if you struggle with feeling deserving, this phrase completely changed it for me. And it's so simple, but for some reason it worked for me. It's from Byron Katie. And she says, if you're breathing, you're deserving. So check, we're breathing. We deserve self-care.
Yes, I love that. And it's a practice to get there, because it took me a lot of years to get where I am now, where there's certain things that are not negotiable. And I'll tell my daughter, Mommy needs half an hour, and I'll put her in front of Peppa Pig so that I can go lay down, or I can go take some deep breaths, and then I can come back and be so much better. And I think it's just practicing, like, actually asking for what we need. Sometimes I remember a couple of years ago, I'd ask my husband, I'm like, do you mind if I go for like a 10-minute walk? And he'd be like, go for it. Whereas he goes golfing for 5 hours. He doesn't like ask permission. So I think we just, as women especially, have to just flex that muscle of asking for what we need.
Yeah. And prioritizing your own well-being is such a great place to start with that. Like, the way that we treat ourselves is the way that other people are going to treat us. And so thinking about it from that perspective, we teach people how to treat us. And so in my family, same thing. Now I do prioritize my own well-being, and I'm teaching them how to treat me. I'm teaching my kids how to treat me. I'm teaching my husband how to treat me. And I'm also teaching my kids to behave the same way. So I have a lot of conversations with my teenage daughter about, oh, this person just treated you in this way. Are you okay with that? Do you need to set a boundary? How much do you value yourself so that this situation doesn't happen again with that person? And so many good things come out of caring for ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. Like, boundaries is a massive part of self-care for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we could talk about that for a long time too. But moving on. So the other part of courageous self-care, of course, is courage. And I feel like it does take a lot of courage to start flexing that muscle, start giving ourselves the care that we deserve. And to practice a little bit of courage here and set an example, I would love for you to share something with us that not a lot of people know about you.
Okay. Well, something interesting about me is 10 years ago, I was slated to go to the Olympics for snowboarding, to go to Vancouver 2010 Olympics. And about 11 months before the Olympics, I had a big snowboard crash, and I ended up bursting my T12 vertebrae and breaking 2 other vertebrae. And they didn't know, the doctors didn't know if I would walk again, because my spinal cord was so badly bruised from all the shards of vertebrae. So that was a real turning point in my life. And I think it makes me who I am today, in terms of being so grateful for my body, and the way I exercise and eat is a reflection of that. And also just so much compassion for people that have physical challenges.
Wow. I did not know that about you. That's amazing. And I'm sure you needed to access that energy of courage so often in your recovery.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them saying I'll never snowboard again. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to let your diagnosis be my reality. And maybe a little screw loose at the same time. However, I was back snowboarding about 6 months later, and I still tried to be on the Olympic team. I I wasn't quite strong enough, so I ended up being an alternate at the games. However, getting on TV and snowboarding and warming up the half pipe as an alternate for Canada was definitely a pretty courageous thing, especially since I'd been told I might never walk again, 11 months earlier.
Wow. I'm covered in goosebumps now. That's amazing. Thanks for letting us in.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So, like I said, lots of our listeners are not anywhere near Calgary and will not be able to attend the festival, but they can still benefit from what you have to offer. So where can they find you online, Charmaine?
Yeah, so online I share a lot of my passion for intuitive eating, healthy eating, breaking through those mindless comfort eating habits, and also just learning to love our bodies at every shape and size. And so they can find me on Instagram. I'm Charmaine.Ironside. And then on Facebook, I'm at Love Your Way Light with Charmaine Ironside. And I'm on YouTube. You can just look up my name. And on my website, I've got an awesome free giveaway. It's a body transformation video series, and it has nothing to do with dieting, everything to do with shifting how we look at food, how we approach meal times. They can find my website at loveyourwaylight.com.
Fabulous. And I'll put that in the link I'll put this in the podcast description, so it's an easy click. That's awesome. So generous of you, Charmaine, and I know that is filled with really valuable information. So do access that because the way that we treat ourselves with food and with exercise and with stress and all that, it can change everything. It's transformational. And if we even just pick one way to learn to care for ourselves, and that one way is through food, or that one way is through appreciating our bodies, or that one way is moving with joy, then it has a ripple effect in the rest of our lives. So make sure you do access Charmaine's gift. That's so generous of you. Thank you, Charmaine.
Thank you.
So at the festival, now if you are in or near Calgary, we would love to see you. And to entice you to come, we have swag bags for the first 100 guests that are going to be absolutely phenomenal. So what are you contributing to those, Charmaine?
Yeah, so I am contributing an opportunity to participate in my 6-week online peaceful eating for weight release program. And it's really teaching all of the principles. There's nothing to do with food. It's everything to do with how we actually eat our meals and how we release stress and how we take care of ourselves so that food doesn't become something to fill a void, like you were saying. And so I'll be putting in free access to that course. It's a $300 value.
Fabulous. So exciting. Thank you for doing that. All of our speakers and vendors have been so generous with what's going into the swag bag. So if you are in or near Calgary, we would love for you to join us in person, get that gift along with all the other ones that are coming. And to honor you for taking the time to listen to this interview, I would love to gift you with a complimentary ticket to the festival. You can get that at, like a prize. You can get that at selfcareticket.com. And that link will also be in the podcast description. So Charmaine, thank you so much for taking time to share yourself with us, to share your wisdom and your journey. I'm so grateful to have you as part of the festival, and I loved talking with you here today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. And for you, dear listeners, you can give yourself a gold star today for tuning in. This is a form of self-care, connecting with other like-minded people, being in this energy, and the next step is to implement. So take action on Charmaine's offer. If you're in or near Calgary, decide to join us at the festival, and I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Thanks again, Charmaine.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye for now.